You are watching the HuK vs TLO grudge match, cast by myself, Totalbiscuit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SHOUTcraft right here. It is a special presentation. I have for you TLO in the purple/pinky trunks, playing Protoss. He's actually playing random, but he is spawned as Protoss right here on the Zelnaga Caverns, versus his opponent and teammate, Mr. HuK. Yes, calls himself Mr. HuK. He's gone very respectable lately. He stopped wearing that hoodie. He's actually walking around in a bowler hat and suit. You would be surprised, but there you go. That's his style, and I would not dispute it. Oh yes, this is going to be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. This is kind of a grudge match series, honestly. As you might be aware, there was a series over in MLG Dallas where they played against each other. So this is a much larger scale rematch. As opposed to best of 3, this is best of 7. Oh yes. Going to be absolutely fantastic. And what I've also been made aware of is that if this series does not go to 7 games, they will play the 7 games anyway, just to make sure that you guys get some extra entertainment. So isn't that completely freaking badass? Yes, it is, folks. Yes, yes, it is. Interesting that we start off with PvP, of course. HuK being the Protoss player, TLO playing random, very curious choice, but very cool, nonetheless. I suppose it really fits with TLO's style and with the way that he actually approaches the game, that he is actually playing random. It makes perfect sense. I mean, why would it not? He is the kind of player that would. He's known for his interesting and innovative and inventive strategies. And what better way to do it than to make sure that you've got a little bit of a lead on your opponent, that your opponent doesn't exactly know what to expect, and that they're forced to adapt to your flexibility. Sounds like a really great idea, to be honest. Now, you might wonder why I'm not talking about what's going on in the game, because there's nothing going on in the game. It's a PvP. You know exactly how it goes, folks. You open up with that, you open up with that. You'll notice that HuK actually put his gateway down a little bit later, probably on 13 supply as opposed to 12. It doesn't really make a huge amount of difference, although it does give him a very slight economic lead. Very slight, though, bear that in mind. Gas is down for both. No big deal either way. Cybernex core going up for both, and a Zealot on the way out for TLO. As you can see, HuK is most likely going to hang on a little bit. He's going to go straight for... No, never mind. Not going straight for a Stalker. Thought he might hang on for that. Actually, quite a late Zealot there, but indeed, why would you bother building a Zealot? Because you know that your opponent's not actually... Yes, indeed, HuK. A wild Zealot does, in fact, appear. A fantastic reference. I absolutely love it. Always good to have a little bit of banter during this particular match, especially in the early stages of this particular matchup, because hey, it's PvP. What's going to be happening? TLO's going to have a nibble with that little probe right there. Nothing's actually going to happen with it, as you're well aware. It takes so very long to get through the shield. The harassment is minimal, folks. Probes just love to harass Terran. Yeah, I play Terran. I am constantly irritated by those tasers. I run around and say, don't tase me, bro, don't tase me, and they do it anyway. So unpleasant. HuK with the 3 gateways right there, most likely, I would think, into a robotics facility after that. TLO is still now sitting on 2 gateways. Warp gate coming up for both, no big surprises either way. He does have double gas, as does his opponent. So a little bit of diversity in the builds there. We'll have to see exactly what TLO decides to do from there. There you go. There's your 3rd gateway coming up. No robotics facility for either yet, just because they simply do not have the power, folks. They do not have the minerals, the resources. HuK with a little bit of a later assimilator than his opponent. That is pretty interesting. TLO, instead of going into the robotics facility, decides to build the Twilight Council instead. So there we do have a little bit of diversity. And Blink Stalkers and Charging Zealots, very likely to be on the field at some point in the not-too-distant future. Unless, of course, he's using it as a transition to Dark Templar, which, it might happen. It might happen. HuK with the Twilight Council as well. No robotics facility. That is fairly interesting for a PvP. There are a number of comments that I've read about Protoss versus Protoss, and it comes down to, oh, well, who can build the most Colossi, or who can build the most Immortals? In this case, it's going to be neither, and they're both going for the Twilight Council. It's straight into Blink right there for TLO. Seems like something that would suit him, give him a lot of opportunities to play around, do some nice micromanagement tricks. If we have a look at the unit composition right now, you've got a single Zealot, 3 Stalkers, and a Sentry out for TLO, versus HuK's 2 Zealots, 2 Stalkers, and a single Sentry. Are either of them going to do anything? Well, HuK looking for a push right there. Got his proxy pylon in place, and a good placement for it nonetheless. And we've got neither opponent deciding to expand at this point in time. TLO goes in for it. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to manage that, as you're well aware. 2 Stalkers, though, fleeing from the sight of the fearsome purple zealot. Yes, indeed. Very, very scary. Side blades made of candy floss, backed up right now by a multitude of Stalkers, but HuK does have the slight numbers advantage. Look for the engagement right here. HuK slides in, gets a little bit of scouting information from the Xel'Naga Watchtower, backs all the way back to his base, where he knows that he can employ his sentry, drop his force field down, and everything will be wonderful. Or will it? Because, as you can see right here, he's already got blink available. He could blink right past there, and it's great micromanagement right here by TLO. You see exactly what he's doing. He's deliberately pulling those Stalkers off of the line when they get weak to maximize the amount of firepower that comes in. Remember, folks, remember that an injured Stalker does the same damage as a full health Stalker. It's great focus fire right there, and as you'll notice, the force field managing to separate the two. Good damage done, and TLO comes out exactly equal on that particular encounter. HuK loses 6 units, TLO loses 5, but of course, TLO threw away some Stalkers, as opposed to HuK, who threw away some Zealots. So, a inconclusive engagement there nonetheless. HuK with the proxy pylon sitting around right there. Has it been spotted? It has not. No sign of any quick third expansion. Third base, second expansion there. TLO decides to expand into his natural, which is a smart move, of course, but HuK is not going to be allowing that to happen, because, bearing in mind he does have that proxy pylon, he could start to apply an awful lot of pressure. HuK now following up with the robotics facility makes sense, considering TLO's got a bunch of Stalkers. Oh, TLO, we got lying entirely on that, and he's going to lose that Nexus if he's not careful. You have to pull back right there. Unit count, if we have a look at it, we can notice that you've got 8 Stalkers right there, right into the base. TLO slightly outnumbers them, blinks straight in there. It's a nice one, and HuK blinks away immediately, losing a single Stalker, no big deal. Continues to focus fire on the Nexus. Will he get it? No, he will not. Absolutely no. TLO picks off 2 and 3 for free. TLO with his own robotics facility to counteract that right now, and the expansion coming up, and a nice spot there of the proxy pylon. TLO's not having any of that. Bear in mind, there are a number of Stalkers still wandering around the area, and if TLO ends up out of position, he could be in a little bit of trouble. Got a few Stalkers hanging around, but not enough to defeat that force. Right into the side right there, blinking all the way in for the harassment, and you know what? He might be able to take it eventually. TLO trying to draw him away. Simple use of a single Stalker, sacrificial more than... There you go, takes it down. It's pretty good. It is pretty good. TLO looks for the flanking maneuver. In the meantime, as you can see, TLO has been able to harass that front line. No expansion for HuK. And into the base, HuK still goes. Continues with the harassment. Tries to do as much damage as possible. He's getting nailed down, though. Loses a Zealot to that one. TLO continues with that focus fire. Takes one down and takes the second, unfortunately losing it there. Mutually assured destruction on that one. TLO continues his pressure on the front line, waiting for the Immortal to come out for HuK. He's almost got it out, and when he does, of course, that's going to make an awful lot of difference. Big amount of firepower right here. HuK's front line is collapsing. Will a single Immortal be enough to fend this off? I'm not entirely convinced. Targeting fire, focus fire, TLO says. Takes down one, and another, batters down the shields of Liquid HuK's Immortal. However, TLO is taking an awful lot of damage right here. He might have fallen down. He finally takes the Immortal out. Can he force his way into the base? It's looking very unlikely. HuK with a quick blink and a grab. It's good stuff. Very, very good indeed. And TLO being forced backwards slowly but surely. HuK with an awful lot of pressure on him, though. And bear in mind that TLO is now expanding and has a massive economic lead. 7 Harvesters. And, of course, this expansion rolling right here. TLO is in a commanding position right now, but of course that could easily change, very, very easily change very rapidly. TLO with an Observer, and pumping out that Zealot charge ability. No sign of Immortals as of yet. Makes sense considering he's often going up against a mixed force. If he's seeing a lot of Immortals out, he wants to get the Zealots. That would make sense. TLO with a pylon there is going to get taken out. No, I don't think it is, honestly. You know, it could get taken out if you had 5 million years to do it, but TLO is not a particularly patient person, and he will grab that and stop that from happening. Yes, he is ferocious, folks, trust me. He might seem like a mild-mannered reporter. He's like the Clark Kent, as far as I'm concerned, of the Starcraft 2 world. By day, he is mild-mannered Dario. By night, he dons some kind of latex outfit and oh, I'm sorry, that was slash fiction. Never mind. Liquid HuK. Finally able to expand. However, TLO is prepping a very delicious force, consisting mostly of Zealots, with some Stalkers to back it up. The Zealot charge upgrade almost on the way, and another gateway coming out for TLO, not bothering it again with the robotics facility beyond simply using a single Observer. How many Immortals are out? We've got 2 right now for HuK. That'll be useful, but bear in mind, TLO now has 14 Zealots, so they're going to be taken out pretty damn rapidly. Unit count firmly in the favor of TLO, as you might expect right here, considering the amount of economic advantage he managed to gain over HuK with that early pressure, and he did layer it on. Yes, indeed, folks, he layered it on with absolutely no consideration for the calorie count. And here we go once again. There's the blink out there. TLO right past it. It's a nice one as well, drawing the Immortals away while it's charge at the front line. TLO now with a commanding position. Going to take out one Immortal, but there are two more available. How well will those Zealot charges do? A nice blink out there by HuK. It's good. Can we surround the Immortal? That's what he looks for. He gets it. He takes it. It's good. A second one almost down, but not quite. Oh, a nice blink and then takes it. Nicely done. There you go, folks. There you go. TLO takes the first game of this best of 7 series thanks to continued pressure, and HuK was not able to deal with that, even with the Immortals, and a nice switch out there to charging Zealots to deal with the fact that his opponent was pumping those Immortals out, and there you go. Very good play indeed.